Hey folks, this is BestInSlot. Welcome to part 2 of 747 of our Jurassic World Evolution 2 speculation and theory series. I want to thank you all very quickly for the response to the last video. I expected a little bit more pushback on my aviary idea, but you guys really took to it. People came up with their own ideas, a lot of which I really like and agree with, and it was just really nice to see. Expanding on that a little further, if you do want to contribute your own ideas, if you've got speculation for other videos and theories you'd like to see me cover, do let me know in the comment section down below, and remember to throw me a like and subscribe to the channel if you want to be kept up to date with both the news and speculation for Evolution 2. Today we're going to talk about what I think will be a new basal gameplay mechanic in Jurassic World Evolution, that is, a gameplay mechanic that folds into the general gameplay loop. It's not a thing you do once or twice, it's kind of part of the long series of things you do. You do this, you decorate your park, you hatch dinosaurs, you look after your dinosaurs, etc, etc, etc. And what I think that is a wild dinosaur wrangling. Now, first of all, we're going to cover why I think this is in the game in the first place. We do have some good evidence for that. And at the end, we're going to do a little more speculation, push it out a little bit more, and talk about how this mechanic would be brought into the game in the first place. So first, the why. Well, for that, the context, first of all, around Evolution 2 is really important. Evolution 2 takes place after Fallen Kingdom. Nublar's blown up, genetic power is all over the globe, the dinosaurs are wild. You know, they're going down to Florida for spring break and going a little bit too crazy. You can see here our Trikes, our Stegosauruses, our Amargasauruses, they're out there in the wild, herding it up, running around, going a little bit crazy. Spring break. So that's important to keep in mind. Dinosaurs are wild, they're out there in the world. The trailer emphasizes that because this is the first shot in the trailer that we really see, so it really is something they wanted to push. And we follow our little Jeep vehicle thingamajiggy throughout the entire video along with the Pteranodon. This isn't really important, but he's zooming along and I thought it was funny, so I included it basically. But this next image is the important one. Towards the end of the trailer, this truck pulls up to a resting Nasutoceratops. Nasutoceratops looks up, and our Coelophysis then hop into the forest, and we see the big foot, and the trailer ends with the Mosasaurus. Now, I think there are two main ways of interpreting this scene right here. Some people see this scene as a sickly Nasutoceratops, and that the truck, kind of like our ranger vehicles in Jurassic World Evolution, is here to heal the Nasutoceratops, basically. I'm going in the other direction. I think this is the wild dino wrangling system, and I've got a few reasons for that. First of all, the Nasuto doesn't look sick. It looks fine. It looks like it's just resting and living its best life out there in the wild. There's no indication that this is a park, there's no fences, there's no infrastructure whatsoever. It very much looks like a wild environment. The truck itself is a big clue because this is, right here, a double door. It's like a paddy wagon, this thing, basically. But there's a double door at the back and it's a big, sturdy metal protection kind of shebang. It very much looks like the kind of thing you could transport a smaller dinosaur in. The Nasutoceratops would be a little bit of a squeeze, but I don't think that's important necessarily. Maybe just strap it to the roof. The point is that this is a far cry from the ranger vehicles we used in Jurassic World Evolution, and there's really no need. You'd need this transport area, because that's what this definitely is, if all you're doing is driving out into the wild and medicating and healing dinosaurs. To add a little bit more onto that, we have this right here. This is the little symbol you can see on the left-hand side. Now, maybe you've not been keeping up to date with this, not everyone will have, but Jurassic World Dominion, in a lot of the merchandise, there's a very specific style that they've been aiming for, and it looks something like this. This is Raptor Chaser, Pursue, Protect, Preserve. And this is quite literally a park ranger organisation that is there to track down wild raptors and probably, capture them and put them into safer holdings so they don't, eat everybody, basically. Nice basic things like not eating everybody. I think that's what they're aiming for. Now, obviously, we don't have a direct replica of this one on the left-hand side, but you can see already it's got the flat top and it's got like the slightly curved base down here. It looks very reminiscent of those ranger, park ranger kind of symbols that you see. Every time you look at like a like a hipster coffee shop logo, it looks something like these. They're very, very similar in style, so I really think that what this is meant to be, this right here, is a collection vehicle, a go out into the wild, tranquilize, gather up wild dinosaurs and bring them back to your park. Not only does that tie in really well with Dominion, wherein we've got all these wild dinosaurs, and of course we don't want to, nuke them or something, we want to capture them, bring them back into our sort of more wildlife reserve looking thing as well. That's important to know, that a lot of the parks look a little bit more open-ended and more sort of nature reserve in terms of aesthetics. So it's got the added benefit of the dinosaurs coming into your park and also taking them out of the wild. Ties in really well with Jurassic World Dominion. The vehicle looks clearly built to transport dinosaurs in my opinion. The logo looks like it's from a ranger vehicle. The Nasutoceratops doesn't look sick. Quite a lot of reasons there, but I have yet more evidence to present. The first is this line from it's not from the actual store page, but if you go onto the store page for Jurassic World Evolution 2, and you then go onto their announcement on that store page, you'll find this line here. Deeper management systems allow you to take greater control of your parks by, and this is really the important bit, deploying and managing new teams. So new teams. We're going to have some form of new teams that we control as part of our management, and that's going to let us, do things for our parks. To add to this a little bit more, however, we have this tweet from the official Jurassic World Evolution 2 account. Now this was someone asking about juveniles and baby dinosaurs, and I'm afraid this will shut that idea down. It says, "Hey!" exclamation point. Like the original, you'll be bioengineering dinosaurs in Jurassic World Evolution 2, T-Rex emoji. While this doesn't include juveniles, so again, juveniles confirmed to not be in the game. A lot of people have suggested that it's a juvenile Brachiosaurus. It's not. It won't be, this is the important bit, it won't be the only way for dinosaurs to appear in your worlds. Now technically this was already true for Jurassic World Evolution. We had a wild dinosaur system, but only on Isla Nublar. When you got to that final campaign mission, there was a Spinosaurus, and there was a ton of other dinosaurs, particularly loads of Stegosauruses. I think like 20 Stegosauruses wandering the map. Actually, was it just Stegosaurus and Spinosaurus? I remember being disappointed by that. Anyway, the point is, that system already existed to an extent, but the fact that I mentioned this on Twitter, it won't be the only way for dinosaurs to appear in your worlds. To me, again, this is suggesting that, yes, we can bioengineer our species, and that is probably how you're going to make 90-95% of your dinosaurs, sure. But you'll also get dinosaurs for your park by bringing them in via a new mechanic, and I think, given the evidence we've seen already, that mechanic is going to be sending teams out to retrieve wild dinosaurs. So that's the more grounded stuff. I think there's really good evidence for this. I think one of the bigger problems Jurassic World Evolution had was that the basic gameplay loop, the minute-to-minute gameplay, got very repetitive. You were basically sending out dig teams, analysing fossils, and sticking dinosaurs in pens. Every now and again you'd have a breakout or you'd do a mission or whatever, but generally speaking there was nothing mixing that gameplay up. This sounds like a really good way of doing that, and I think there are two main ways they could take this mechanic. We'll discuss that in a second, but let me know what you think about this already. This is, as I say, the why. Why do I think this mechanic will exist? This is all your evidence, okay? So, I don't think I'm stretching. Maybe people do. Let me know what you think. I'm happy to debate. I'm happy to hear pros and negatives and all that kind of jazz. But let's talk about how it would work, and here's my expert drawings. So as I say, I think two main options. Number one is that it would be a new management screen. And that's why it says management there, and that's why there's a little man in a suit. Number two would be Zoom Zoom. We'll talk about that in a second, and that's meant to be the Flash, not Harry Potter. So, management. Now this is actually something I talked about 3 years ago for Jurassic World Evolution, and I loved the idea, and I want to push it once again. This scene right here, where there's a team of people, rangers out there in the park trying to wrangle up the Indominus Rex, just like what we're talking about here, although more in a desperate save everyone from dying kind of way in the film, admittedly, I really, really like. Now, I don't think we're going to get this with the health bars and everything like that, but I think if they're going to make this mechanic interesting and it's not going to be done physically by the player, we'll cover that in the second part of this, that's the Zoom Zoom, I think if they're going to make this mechanic interesting from a management point of view, they have to make the teams we manage interesting and also at risk. What I would like to see is a slight random mission system to an extent. Let's say you've got a whole new management system, a new management area that's brought about by a brand new building. I'll draw it here. It looks like a house. Don't ask why. And you build this building, and it's like a scanner or a helicopter crew that goes out and scans the local area for wild dinosaurs that you could possibly bring to your park, right? I'm thinking like, if any of you have played World of Warcraft and used the mission table, that's the kind of thing I'm thinking of. So you'd go to this building, you'd have Coelophysis ×3 pop up or something, and it would have like a danger warning, and you could then choose who you send out there, hopefully named people, because I think that makes it a lot more effective. You could then send teams out to try and retrieve those dinosaurs. You'd have, wild T-Rex, highest threat level. That means you have to send the maximum number of people out, and there's still a chance that some of them won't come back alive, or they'll get injured, and that'll, take them out of business for a little while, something more like that. This might sound a little optimistic, but this is a fairly basic management sort of game that you see in a lot of other titles. A lot of survival games have systems wherein you send out your survivors, you know, even the very basic sort of indie ones, you send out your survivors and you go get supplies and stuff like that. This can work on basically the same system. Like I say, the mission table in World of Warcraft, stuff like that, is a very, very similar system. It sounds a lot more complex than I think it is in reality. And by giving us named staff members who can possibly get hurt, it makes it a whole lot more interesting and a lot more something I think people will want to get involved in. If there's no risk to it and there's no personal involvement, then just clicking buttons on a management screen isn't very exciting. So I think if you're going to do this from a management perspective only, then it has to have that personal touch and a little bit of danger to it as well. The alternative, of course, is that you're going to do it yourself. You would go out in the Jeep, in the truck. I've got to stop calling every vehicle in Jurassic Park a Jeep. You go out in the truck. That's why it says you. You know, you'd go from the park. Maybe it's in the park. The parks are they look wide and open spread, but I'd imagine you go from the park to a new wild area. That's why it looks all spooky like that. Again, these drawings are available for purchase. Just hit me up. So you'd be put out there in the wild, you know, navigate around the terrain. This is very clearly like an all-terrain sort of vehicle, a 4x4. And you're driving around, and you drive out into the wilderness, maybe you've got a scanner or something, and you try to track down this dinosaur you're looking for. And maybe it is a Nasutoceratops, and it's just kind of resting there. You just pop a few tranks in it, load it into the truck, and head back to the park. Maybe when it's something like a T-Rex, you have to drive a little bit more carefully. You have to move and trank it at the same time, and hit it with several tranks until it's ready to bring back to the park. I actually really like both ideas. I would actually maybe lean towards this one. This one would break up the gameplay more, but I love this idea of having that more personal touch and kind of really hands-on managing our teams. And we already know that Frontier have said they want the management to be a lot deeper in Jurassic World Evolution 2. So it wouldn't surprise me if we're going to start getting named staff members and stuff like that. I think most people would prefer this one, and this would be very cool as well. And to be honest guys, if I'm right about this feature, I don't really see how else they would implement it other than one of these two methods. So that's very much something I'm open to suggestions on. How else would you bring in this wild dino wrangling? Is there an alternative to the two I've suggested? Which of these two would you prefer? Am I talking gobbledygook? I don't think I am. This and the customizable aviary are the two main features that kind of jumped off the page at me when I was first watching the trailers and reading all the information. These were the two things that weren't directly announced, but that I inferred quite strongly from the information we had available. So beyond this, it's even more speculation or expanding on features we already know about and stuff like that, but I really wanted to cover these two first because these are my two favourite theories, basically. All that said, let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Tomorrow, Sunday, I want to say 13th, but God only knows, E3 properly kicks off. Again, I've heard suggestions. I don't have any hard information. I don't have people on the inside or anything, but I've heard suggestions that we may get more information about Evolution 2 at E3. So tomorrow, on Sunday, we're going to do an E3 watch party, just like we did with, what's it called? Summer Games Fest. And that worked out really well. So hopefully E3 will as well, and hopefully we can find out more information about these features that I'm talking about. So come back tomorrow night for our live stream. Right now I could not possibly tell you when that's going to be, but if you just go find out when E3 is, you'll know for sure. And that's about it from me, folks. Let me know what you think in the comment section. I've said that about 20 times this video. I'm really excited about this idea. One of my biggest problems, my two main problems with Evolution were three main problems. Dinosaur behaviours needs expanding, lack of customization, already seen some pretty promising stuff for that, and the basic gameplay loop being just a little too boring. Now the customization helps with that, but I think it needs another gameplay feature to mix things up. Either of these versions would do that in my opinion, so I'm really excited about both possibilities. I'll see you lovely folks next time. Remember to like this video if you did enjoy it and subscribe for more of this kind of content. Thanks for joining me, cheers, much love as always. Bye bye. Reaching out.